welcome back at it again with another episode of the Playlist Shuffle Podcast. What you thought this was? Listen, I ain't gonna hold you long. This ain't a long intro. We already kicked off season 3 with our premiere lounge talk segment with our first ever artist to appear on our podcast, Jacqueline. Very awesome, very talented. Again, thank you, Jacqueline, for hopping in and just having a good talk. So make sure y'all check that out on Spotify and YouTube. Give it a like and a subscribe, please. I did announce it's also on Instagram Live. Check out the page, Playlist Shuffle Podcast on Instagram. You can check it out on Instagram Live too. You'll see that I've made an announcement that season 3 will solely be covering Attack on Titan's music. Just solely, nothing else. And I'm telling you, we got 5 soundtracks to cover. And I'm gonna do my best to go in order. But there are some tracks that play in season 1, 2, 3, and so forth. So y'all just bear with me as I do my best to dissect and interpret this masterpiece of the world of Attack on Titan's music. All right, this is serious. I'm being serious right now. So we're just going to get started. All right, we're just going to get started with a banger. One of Hiroyuki Sawano's, that's the composer, one of the greatest composers I've ever listened to. Uh, One of his best works in Attack on Titan. And if you look at the title, you'll see that it's called XL-TT. Uh, what Hiroyuki likes to do, the more I see his titles, is that he likes to have his listeners think and sort of solve the puzzle. What this title translates to, if you dissect it, XL, we all know it usually as extra large, and then TT, you assume that it's an abbreviation for Titan, right? Titan. So the thing is, so there are multiple kinds of Titans in the show of Attack on Titans. One of them being called the Colossal Titan, is like the biggest Titan in the show, and it's basically a superpower Titan that a person can wield. It's very ginormous, very powerful, and it's just it has no skin. It's just a walking piece of muscle and tissue, and it can blow off literal steam out of its body. And when someone transforms into the Colossal Titan, they cause this huge nuclear bomb like explosion that could be so devastating that could just wipe out anything. And so this is the motif about the Colossal Titan. What I like to describe about this score is that it is such an epic operatic motif that showcases the appearance, the power, destruction, and the aftermath of the Titan. All in that order, I believe. The appearance, the power, destruction, and the aftermath. So what I want to do is, because of the length of this score, I want to break it up into different sections, and I want to play each section, and then I'm going to talk about it and narrate what's going on within multiple scenes that is showcased while the score is playing, because there are a couple of scenes that I want to talk about that, and how this score embellishes the visual storytelling of this show. So we're gonna play the first part, and then we're gonna talk about it. Let's hop right on in. All right, let's just stop right there. Let's just stop right there. You feel when the percussion rolls in and then this whole explosion of the orchestra with the especially with the choir and the toll bells, it's it's so powerful. And so what's going on here is this is this score appears in the first episode, the very first episode. And just like I told you earlier, this is the theme for the Colossal Titan. So when I say that the score appears in the first episode, obviously that means so did the Colossal Titan. When the Colossal Titan shows up and you just see this huge uh scary looking Titan looking all over the wall, over a 50-meter wall, staring at the residents, and then you're just in awe. If you watch it for the first time, you're just like, what in the world is happening and why is that existing and why is it there? Is this some like extraterrestrial being? Is like why did it show up? Why did it just show up from out of nowhere? Like what kind of world is this? And then and by the way, it's spoiler alert. Just want to let y'all know every episode contains spoilers. So if you haven't watched it, I'm sorry. So the Colossal Titan appears and it just hovers over the wall and then it kicks a huge hole in the wall, causing lots of devastation. You have this whole uh uh wall debris just raining down on the residents, tearing crashing into houses, crushing people. If that wasn't enough destruction, oh, you just wait till what else is coming. But I just want to talk about uh the very beginning of the score and how the choir especially the choir, oh man, it's just like it's almost like it's showcasing the presence of this large god like being, and it's like a sacrificial ceremony going on, like, you know what I mean? Is always when it's like a one of those supernatural or fantasy type films and you have this gigantic creature approaching, is the music is always emphasized as like this summoning of a god or sacrificial ceremony. And with this epic choir and the rolling of the percussion and the toll bells, it just shakes you to the core. It makes you feel almost exactly how the characters in the show feels whenever when they see this titan show up. It's like they're shocked in fear. But I just want to discuss about that. And when this uploads on YouTube, make sure you go in the comments and tell me how you felt about it. Well, let's go into the second section because I really want to talk about this too. Bro, I'm telling you, the choir is what makes this show so good musically. The choir is the emphasis of this show. It is the epitome of this show. And I'm gonna tell you why. The more I listen to the choir and the more I watch the show, I'll put them together. And I think of the choir as um the voices of the drone titans. You know, the titans that just mindly walking in because you have like the colossal titan uh is being wielded by an actual person, right? That can be in control of the titan form. But then you have all these, zombie titans that are just uh roaming around and eating people. I like to correlate the voices of the choir to the titans because the voices just seem so haunting, like the titans themselves. To me, it sort of makes sense to put two and two together because every time the titans appear, you hear the haunting choir, and it's like when all you can hear is the choir and not the titans. It sort of makes you think that, oh, maybe titans are around somewhere. I love that sort of techno electronic drum pad that supports the choir, right? It brings such a weird element to this uh this world building concept because this is supposed to represent like past Germany times. Like it seems like a period piece, but that you have this techno drum beat throughout the score, and it's so odd. It feels so out of place, but I love it. It just fills in the void of epicness. And then you have the rest of the orchestra coming in with a timpani roll, and then the choir gets bigger. That da 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 with the brass is it goes crazy from there. And this is when the zombie titans, um, they wander through the hole that the colossal titan kicked through the wall, and now these titans are in the town. They're in the district, and they're starting to pick off people one by one and eating them. And the people are just running in fear. They're trying to escape uh the the town and get through the next district that has the evacuation boats. But at the same time, we see that our main characters, Aaron, Mikasa, and Armin, um, Aaron realizes that one of the boulders landed to where his house um, would be at, and his mom is in the house. So he and Mikasa run over to his house while Armin stays behind because he's terrified of what's going on right now. He's petrified. And so when Aaron and Mikasa are running through the streets, evading everybody who's running in the opposite direction, they turn a corner, and what they see is this horrifying sight. That pretty much ends it for this section. So now we're going to move on to my favorite section and one that I can't wait to discuss about. So let's hop right into it. man, it's something about this section when I have my earphones on. I have the Bose noise canceling Bluetooth earphones, so even better. It's just so crazy with the experience listening to this because you have is you have the choir once again, but the percussion brings this popular music type beat, almost like an EDM dancehall or a hip hop kind of beat, whichever route you want to go, while at the same time still instilling, still bringing fear into you. It still has this chill going down your neck. Like I don't know what it is, but the best part about this track and how it's used in the show is the the edited mix in the show is particularly in this episode, in the first episode, is different than what you hear in the actual soundtrack, right? So, if you watch the show and you listen to this section, first of all, this track is pretty shortened, right? You don't hear the whole track in the first episode, but you hear it in other episode, and we'll discuss about that later. But in this particular episode, because um, this whole scene is like I don't know, like 5 to 10 minutes, I want to say, that's why it's short. But in this section itself, so what's going on here? First of all, Aaron and Mikasa, they reach, they get to the house, and it's it's caved in, right? Unfortunately, Aaron's mom, Carla, is underneath that debris, and well, her legs are crushed, and she can't move. Aaron and Mikasa try to get her out, but because they're kids in this episode, they can't really do anything. And then they hear the footsteps of the Titans approaching. They look up, and then the camera pans up, and then that's when you hear this breakdown of the section. That's why I like to call it. I like to call it the breakdown because you can literally like break dance and like to this. But as the camera pans up and you see like a couple Titans, walking creepishly in the town, that's when the breakdown starts and the choir drops. But you don't have the techno percussion beat. There's percussion playing, but not the techno beat itself. Instead, you have the modern orchestral, I want to say timpani or maybe taiko drums playing in the background, and then the toll bells. It could be a possibility that the techno drum pad is still playing just very low, very quietly in the mix, but prominently it's the timpani or the taiko drums or both, whichever one. Like I said, along with the choir and then the strings. And you gotta like watch the episode in order to hear the difference because it sounds more hellish on screen than in the soundtrack itself. And I kind of wish that they released the TV edit. But then the Titans are approaching, and especially this one uh Titan, this one smiling Titan. For those who don't, for those who know about the show, it's the uh the Dyna Titan, and still Aaron and Mikasa are trying to get his mom out, but she tells him, I can't move. Even if you get me out, I won't be able to run because my legs are crushed." But of course, they're kids. They're going to be naive, and they're going to deny it, and they still wants to get her out, but they're not listening. And then you had the friend of the family, Hannes, who's part of the military corps. Their duties basically protect the citizens within the walls. Carla begs him to take the children and run, and then he's like, I'll don't worry, I'll take this Titan down and I'll get us all out of here." And so he takes off and run and charges towards the Titan, and then he comes to a complete stop. And as soon as he stops, that's when this track ends in the show. That's it. You don't get the ending, because uh once he comes to a complete stops and you know stares in fear of this huge Titan, uh the music transitions to another song, or at least an instrumental version of a song. But that doesn't mean that we're going to stop here. Oh no, because we're actually going to uh give a little honorable mentions to some other scenes that use this section of the track, but mixed it in a different way. Now, there's gonna be a short summarization, but we skip over to episode 10 when our main characters, um, Armin, Aaron, and Mikasa, they're in another district, and this and 5 years later, the Colossal Titan appears again and kicks a hole and lets the Titans invade the Trost district, right? And there is just pandemonium basically. It's just chaos going on. Like there's so many Titans to go around. And then they meet the leader of the military within the district, Commander Pixis. And so as we're getting to know this character, you hear the voice of Armin sort of narrating who Pixis is. And as that's going on, we see Pixis walking on top of the wall and staring down at the Titans. And that's when you hear this section of the track. It's just a choir and a few taps from the techno drum pad, and the distorted synth. But mainly it's just a choir. And it's so chilling, it's so haunting. It and like I said, it just showcases the um the process of the Colossal Titan and what it brings, the misery that the Colossal Titan brings upon humanity. So the choir, like I said, it represents the voices of the Titans. So the first thing you see is Pixis walking on top of the wall, and then it cuts to the Titans who see him and they want to, eat him, but they can't climb. And I just love that edit. I just love that mix. Then we get to another episode, episode 12. Now we find out that Aaron has the power to transform into a Titan as well. It's a different Titan, but we just find out that he has these powers. So episode 12, uh, they're going along with the plan to use Aaron um as a weapon, not mainly to fight the Titans, but to use one of the large boulders from the debris to plug the wall, basically, so that no more Titans can get in. Well, the plan goes astray basically because Aaron loses um control of his Titan. And so he's just sitting there not moving. And so Armin's trying to wake him up. And as he's doing that, some of the other characters who are in the military, they're doing their best to basically distract the Titans from going after Aaron. And one of the characters during this section, um, one of the characters named John, he's basically he saved his friend Connie from one of the Titans, and he's trying to use his ODM gear that they use to fly around the town basically. But his ODM gear is jammed, and so he's got uh a couple Titans, but one specifically that's like just chasing him. It's walking, but it's chasing him. And then John hides into an abandoned house, and then he waits for it to pass. So a lot of scenes uh, are played out while this score is playing, and especially during this section is my favorite section, honestly. And so I just wanted to share y'all how this section alone can emphasize the tensions of the conflict between humanity and the Titans, because literally it plays it out within the track. That's what I'm trying to uh tell y'all. The conflict between s- so basically the process in this track is the Colossal Titan and how his destruction causes, or how it raises the tension between Titan and humanity, and how they clash. It's hell, basically. It's it's hell on earth. And so we got one more section that I want to talk about. And so we're gonna dive right in. Let's do it. As that section progresses, not only does it raise tensions between humanity and Titans, it's also sort of brings some inspiration, some motivation, that through this dark times that we're in right now, somehow, some way, we can persevere. As the section progresses, it's sort of like you're in this all in mode, right? Go big, go home. You just got to do it. You just got to fight these Titans. Like, don't hesitate. Just push on, push forward. Which is funny to say that, because that's the whole mo of our main character, Aaron. That's his belief. Keep moving forward until you reach freedom. And that's how I interpret that section. We're going to move on now to this section, the outro, basically. So as the last section progresses, here pretty much we're at the climax of battle, the defining moment of this war against the Titan. There are a couple episodes that sticks out to me when this section plays out, when the outro plays out. This is also my favorite section because if I'm gonna refer back to the very first Attack on Titans episode that I did on the podcast, the Attack on Titan song is literally this track. I'm gonna revisit that song in the very next episode. All right, we're gonna go back and talk about this because I have a lot more to say about that song. But this score literally is the mirror arrangement of that song. The Colossal Titan track is the mirror arrangement of the Attack on Titan song. What am I talking about? It literally has the same choir saying the same syllables. In my research, I seen that someone may have realized that the choir is actually electronic. I don't know if that's true, but say that it is. These are syllables that the choir are that the voices are saying, but they're the same syllables that you hear in the Attack on Titan song. It's just the Colossal Titan score is slower, just like how the Attack on Titan song ends with the lyrics, uh, "What will we find beyond the horizon?" And remember, the lyrics are German in that song. The choir supports the lyrics exactly how you hear it in the Colossal Titan score. The melody, the choir, the notes, it's the same. Da 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 da. It's the same. Literally, it's in both tracks. This is the climax that we're in right now. This is supposed to be the defining moment towards victory, or so you may thought, because in episode 5, oh my gosh, major spoiler alert. All right, so get ready. What's going on here? So we've backtracked to episode 5. Right after the Colossal Titan kicks another wall down in the Tross district, Aaron, Armin, and Mikasa, they're older now, and now they're in the military corps. Aaron and Armin, along with other side characters, are in their own squad while Mikasa's in another squad. So Aaron and Armin squad, they're on deck and um they're flying through the town with their ODM gear, and here comes this abnormal zombie titan that just jumps from out of nowhere and crashes into, I think it was a clock tower, I believe, or a bell tower, and it had one of Aaron's friends in his mouth, and it devoured him. So Aaron got really mad. By the way, this is where the Colossal Titan score literally begins again. So Aaron is mad. He chases down the Titan. Before he can kill it, another Titan sneaks in from below and chomps one of Aaron's leg off. And this causes Aaron to crash into the roof of a house. And he's just knocked out cold. And so Armin is on the opposite house and he sees the devastation of his friend. He also witnesses the whole squad getting devoured as well. And here comes this Santa Claus Titan approaching Armin, and Armin he's stuck in fear. He's frozen. So this Santa Claus Titan just picks him up and just drops Armin in his mouth. And then Aaron is having this whole flashback of him and Armin talking about going out beyond the walls and seeing how big the world is, seeing the ocean, seeing, the different terrain that they saw in a book that they were reading. So once the flashback ends, we cut back to Aaron, like this dramatic close up shot of Aaron just, getting up. And this is when this section, the outro section comes on. The percussion crashes, the choir drops, right? The bell tolling. And so Aaron gets up and he manages to reach Armin before he gets swallowed. So Aaron he pulls Armin out, he throws him back on the house, and the Santa Claus Titan is about to literally chomp Aaron. So Aaron is doing all he could to just keep his mouth open, and he's telling Armin, "Listen, Armin, we're gonna get out of this. We're gonna go beyond the walls and we're going to see the ocean. We have to see it together. And Armin finally snaps out of it. He tries to save Aaron, but it's too late. The Titan chomps down on Aaron. His arm comes off, and that's the last we see Aaron because this is the end of the episode. And Armin's just screaming, just like shrieking in terror. I'm sure if you see this for the first time, you'll be freaked out that the main character literally gets eaten. For this episode, I want to talk about, or I just want to mention how in the very how this section one, like it brings the inspiration out of the character on the brink of death. He finally he rises up to save his friend, and it's just it's so dramatic, but it works so well for this scene because how inspirational and victorious it sounds, only to leave you devastated because once the Santa Claus chops down on Aaron, then this is where the male choir come in along with the heavy bell tolls and the terrifying, percussion. Everything is dark now. Like the tone just got real dark compared to the whole orchestra contributing. Now it's just like this devastating feeling. Like you're so disappointed now. It's just like it went from 100 to 0, just like that. And of course, a lot of times if you hear bell tolls, especially in film music, that usually means that, oh, someone died, basically. It symbolizes death. In the mastered track, the drums supports the bell tolls until the whole track ends. But in this episode, the drums fade out. So once we cut to Mikasa, it's just bell tolls. We cut to Mikasa and then we zoom out into uh the shot of the whole town being in shambles. It's just the bells tolling, and then the episode ends. Now we fast forward to episode 12. This is when this is during this is going back to when I said Aaron lost control of his Titan, and he's just sitting there and Armin's trying to wake him up. Well, we get to this part, it's literally the same it's literally the same section. Only here in this scene, when Armin is trying to talk to Aaron through his Titan body, Aaron's mind is back in his house with his mom, dad, and Mikasa, and they're just living their normal life. But Armin is you see Armin outside the house through the window. It's a nice visual metaphor basically. Armin's trying to get through to Aaron saying like, "Dude, is this really what you want? I thought you want to risk it all so that we can go beyond the walls. Or is that too much of a gamble for you?" So while Armin is speaking, instead of the whole orchestra playing this victorious sound, it's just the choir and the strings and some bells, I believe. And I just love that edit of the mix. Now instead of this sound of victory, I mean, I guess it still sounds like victory or really more inspirational. It just brings a more tender moment within a bad situation. It's like we're rushing to get Aaron back up. But at the same time, we got our friends and the rest of the military trying to protect Aaron and risking their lives because there are titans roaming around the town. We got to get Aaron back up, and I love it here because it's the lyrics. If the lyrics of the Attack on Titan song were actually said in this track in German, the words are "What will we find beyond the horizon?" It's literally what Armin is reflecting on as he's trying to get through Aaron's head. Like, "Hey, we what's beyond the walls? I thought you wanted to know what's beyond the walls, or is that too much for you?" The melody within this section, it repeats more than what's on the soundtrack. It repeats like 4, 5 times, I believe, until Aaron responds. What kind of question is that? you know my intentions. No, I was born in this world, so this world is my birthright, and I'm gonna go beyond the walls. And it's that part when here comes the male choir brings this heavy dark tone, and then the drums come in and they hit right, the drums supporting the male voices, and then here comes the toll bells again. So like I said, this section alone just adds in the inspiration and motivation to defeat the Titans, but at a deadly cost. Like in a very bad situation that we're in, this is a all or nothing moment right here. So, man, I'm telling you, this track is heavy, just like this show. It's It's one of the craziest scores when you the more you think about it and the more you match it up to scenes and how it works, especially how it's edited within the film compared to the mastered version, the released version. It's the details in the edit when you watch as you're watching the show play out, you hear the difference and it gives you more emotion. Now, in season 4, this track is also used, but it's different. Season 4, it brings a more epic rock kind of feel because now we're not using electronic drum pads. We're using like a drum set now. And it brings a more rock feel to it. And this is when, years have passed. Now our characters have reached beyond the seas. They're in Marley, um, fighting against their enemies, right? The Marlians hate the Eldians. The Eldians hate the Marlians now. So the Eldians are attacking Marley in order to retrieve Aaron. And you have a sequence where um, Armin is now the Colossal Titan, and he transformed into the Colossal Titan, and he causes this big explosion. And well, here's a colossal theme. Here's a Colossal Titan theme song. And so now our characters they're going in for the kill, for the destruction, and they're fighting against um a couple of soldiers who are in Titan form now, and they're shooting at this cart Titan, and this cart Titan has Marley soldiers in there. Is using her like it's using the cart Titan like a tank, basically, and they're just shooting our characters. And one of our characters like snipes one of the soldiers in the tank, and then you hear the outro section, the da da da, and the drums are like going crazy at this point, and the arrangement is not so different, but it is, which is it's just crazy. Like the drums, it's so different compared to what we've been hearing the last 3 seasons. Now we got an actual drum set, or I'm assuming it's an actual drum set. And so yeah, that's an honorable mention. And like I said, it still tells the destruction of the colossal titan and how the score emphasizes its appearance, power, destruction, and aftermath. And this is a banger. And so I wanted to start off talking about this show with a banger. So thank y'all once again for tuning in to the Playlist Shuffle podcast. We're just getting started. We got a whole lot more Titan music to go through. So please sit back and relax and enjoy the ride. And thank you all once again for tuning in. And I'll see you next time. This is your boy Jay Malley. I'll see you next time.